Did you guys ever see Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Did you ever see Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's this movie that is like half animation and half actual videography. I think it was supposed to be like precedent setting. I think it was the first time they'd ever done this thing where they put animation into the actual movie. And Roger Rabbit was this like goofy rabbit who wore red overalls, kind of like a dorky rabbit. But for some reason, he had this gorgeous like Hollywood starlet wife, Jessica. And Jessica's motto was, "I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way." And Jessica's voice was done by what was her name? Turner, Kathleen Turner. And the great thing about Kathleen Turner, she's got a very distinguished voice. She's got a very, very specific voice. This very kind of like low, almost like baritone, but incredibly like luxurious, like indulgent, like feminine voice. And she was also V.I. Warshawski, which is this movie about this woman who's a private detective whose father was, I think, a private detective too. And she took his name. She called herself VI, so that if you were looking for a private detective or you were going just based on the reputation of a private detective, you would assume VI was a man because people probably didn't think a private detective that was a woman was going to be very good. But she was a very, very good private detective. And yes, there was this bathtub scene, but that, it wasn't too provocative. It wasn't a bad thing or anything. So Kathleen Turner is very, 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 very important screen actress. And for whatever reason, anytime somebody wants some sort of like movie reference, you always have to give two. It always has to be like two almost contrasting representations of that particular actor's body of work. This has been going on for a very long time, and they like to try to like flip it. You know, we're not talking about like Robert De Niro, who gets to play like every kind of like white skinned ethnic gangster as successfully as any other. He's very novel in that regard. We're talking about pretty much, you know, these people in Hollywood, they might have a very like prominent role in one manner, but then you always have to find the counter position to like that representation. And so there's something almost about the representations that's supposed to say something about what you're really striving for. So I'm picking Kathleen Turner's voiceover as Jessica in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as well as what Kathleen Turner did as V.I. Warshawski. And I'm invoking right now. Where's this rule? Where's this rule? I just had it. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, here it is. Rule 44.2. Any petition for the rehearing of an order denying a petition for a writ of certiorari or extraordinary writ shall be filed within 25 days after the date of the order of denial and shall comply with all the form and filing requirements of paragraph 1 of this rule. I am refiling and requesting a rehearing on my petition for a writ of quo warranto in suppression of sedition concerning the pattern of racketeering activity that was presented in the 2017 order for the 2018 appropriations process, as well as how it was followed up on the next year. You know, is this kind of complicated? Not really. The original petition was to suppress sedition. And we're at a situation where we're very extreme. And it's been 25 days since I understand Supreme Court of the United States issued an order that I believe allows for the illegal exportation of the intangible property of the people of the United States via a mischaracterization of it being a foreign asset available through the State Department for distribution abroad. I've already provided a public statement that acknowledges that there were very important time frames connected to this understanding, which also acknowledges that there is a certain concept of decorum about acknowledging the body of work of professionals and people that are in the public trust. And when that is abused and allowed to be mischaracterized, it has a way of accruing over time. That case regarding, what is it called? What is this case? Let me make sure I got the name right. Agency for International Development versus Alliance for Open Society should never have made it to the Supreme Court, and it certainly should never have made it to the Supreme Court or even to any court a second time. It's a complete travesty, and it is a complete disrespect to the people of the United States and whoever would be considered our allies abroad. this is impromptu. I mean, I think actually by my timeline around, acknowledging something else, I've got probably less than 72 hours. I'll make my deadline. But I'm just letting you know before whatever ends up posting during business hours today that I had every intention of following up in a way that would be able to acknowledge what was possible. So let's see what the Supreme Court does today and how much actual physical pain I'm in while I'm trying to meet this standard.